Welcome to you all. Hello, everyone, and a really warm welcome to you all. This is Andrea Lee of WealthyThoughtLeader.com, and this is a very exciting moment, not only because of the very special guests that I have here with me today, but also because this is one of our very first times trying Google Hangouts. So this is a bit of a milestone. I want to thank you all for joining us. Today we have a very special interview prepared, and is with special guest Marlena Field of Advanced Coach Training School. Marlena, hello. So glad to have you with us today.
Hi, Andrea. Fun to be here with you.
This is a rare call. As you know, I've been in the coaching industry for a long time, probably going on 15 years now. I think I remember the very first coach association that I helped to found, and it certainly was there when I saw lots of different coach training schools open and even close their doors over the years. So it is with a deep feeling of relief, gladness that you have decided to make this move that you're making currently, that we'll say more about in a moment, and really a blessing for the entire coaching industry, especially business coaches who have, I think, become more sophisticated over the years and really are seeking and thirsting for advanced ways in which to help their clients get what they really need. Marlena, do you want to say a little bit about why we're here today, what it is that you're hoping to communicate with everyone who's hanging out with us today, and particularly a little bit about ACTS and your journey to come to this moment to open a school, because that's not a small thing to just open a school, is it?
No, it's not a small thing, and yeah, I founded a legacy program, which was a year-long intensive, and actually I'm in my second one-year training program, and in this past year I've been working with Andrea, and she has really helped me think about what I'm doing in a much bigger way. So Andrea has really helped nudge me along my path, because I was quite happy and secure and content, just sort of bouncing along in my own little world and creating things as I went along. And as I was working with Andrea, she really um, encouraging about, and so I'm doing some visibility with Denise Wakeman. I have Shoshana on my team who's helping me co-create curriculum. I have a VA that's helping with Facebook and Twitter, and I have my regular website person. And the long and the short of this is, I thought I was going to be 2 years ago, I thought I'm going to create a legacy program so I can kind of fade out and just kind of, oh yes, I've done this body of work and I'm going to fade out of, I don't know, contribution or something. And then what happened was, as I was working with Andrea and really yearning for community and really yearning for expansion and really thinking about legacy more as not something I want to leave behind, but thinking of legacy more as what more do I want to contribute, and the legacy will look whatever it looks like, and I don't know what that is. So here I am, and I'm starting an advanced coach training school in September, and like Andrea was saying, it's really appealing to seasoned coaches, to business coaches, to personal coaches, seasoned coaches who are yearning for something a little bit deeper, a little bit more of a nudge, figuring out that, hey, this body thing that Marlena talks about, this body-centered coaching, I mean, I wonder what's in that and what's that about. And just having an opportunity to give that to seasoned coaches. And so that's what we're doing here today. I want to honor the team that I've have around me, and I really want to honor Andrea for the loving nudge, nudge, nudge that she gave me to move along my path so that coaches can go to another deeper level with their clients, and then it's more exponential than me just sitting in my own little office doing my own little thing. So, Andrea, I can't say enough about how much I appreciate you.
Thank you, Marlena. It's been really, really rewarding for me also. You know, all of us who are here on the Hangout could relate, right? Those of you who are commenting and chatting, coaching is deeply spiritual and moving, engaging work. And when you meet up with a great dance partner, you know, coach and client, it's transcendental, really. I think today's conversation really has two relevant sort of themes, and one is this journey that you're describing around being a solopreneur, right, Marlena? And so many coaches start out as a solopreneur, and not everyone is cut out to go ahead and leap to this idea of having a team. The way that I often describe it that might be useful for people who are hanging out with us is that if you are flying a small plane, which I do when I come home to my island home here in the Pacific Northwest. The pilot is also the guy that lifts my luggage into the plane. It's one guy. It's a small plane. And so if you have a vision for your business as being a solo business, that's great. You're doing a lot. But if in your heart, as you're hanging out with us, you would like to reflect on what Marlena is demonstrating is possible, even when you have been doing your coaching for a long, long time, it's not too late to make that decision. And we're going to actually talk a bit more about decision making in something that Marlena shares with us a little later. If you have a bigger vision, it's like having a bigger plane. You can't fly it alone. You wouldn't want to fly it alone, because what happens if that one person that flew the little plane tried to fly a huge plane all by himself? Now, that probably makes a lot of sense as far as some of you who have big visions and have been trying to fly the plane by yourself. It's like, hey, wait a second. Now I understand why it has felt the way it has felt. So, Marlena, really the kudos goes to you, because if you had not made that CEO level decision around saying, yes, I am willing to let my big vision cause me to become more of a CEO than I started out thinking I would be. Sometimes I was being dragged kicking and screaming by whoever it was around you, coach or not. And now here you are with a school that's launching an incredible body of work. And that's the second pillar. So journey from solopreneur to this legacy-based, team-oriented school founder. But the second tier really is around who the heck ever talks around the quality of coaching anymore? I mean, why do we not talk about that? I don't know about you guys, but I care a whole lot about the quality of my coaching. And when Marlena and I started working together, one of the main things that really galvanized me and it had me invest in her success so much was the quality of the tools, the quality of the change that she is able to help coaches make that isn't being taught anywhere else. And the reason for this is, and I will shut up here in a moment, Marlena, I want you to do some exercises and tell some more stories, but the reason for it is, like, think about it for a moment, because it's had its roots in therapy, coaching, for the most part, has been talk. You know, just talk. Yeah. And the first thing Marlena asks us to do is to say, what does the body say? And how many of you, is that a revolution, like, of a question? What does the body say? Like, if you knew how to use your client's body inside the coaching container that you create, could that change things for you? Could that make you a far better coach? Could that make you distinctive? And could it make you more hireable? Could it make you hireable at a higher fee more consistently? Would your reputation shift and transform? So, Marlena, I know you have a couple of different things that you want to teach that are actually takeaways that people will be able to use with their coaching clients right away after today. Did you want to go into the first one for us right now?
Yes, I would. And the first one that comes to mind is how when we're working with clients, all of us actually have thoughts and feelings that limit us. And so often, I often say our body stores our story. So if we're not contacting the body and figuring out what the body is doing or telling us, then we're missing some of the data. So when we and our although I was working closely with Andrea and we were doing all sorts of really good quality business coaching, I was also in the background doing some body-centered coaching with myself, and
because I didn't
and you
know
can do
better.
it with yourself too. So here's an example. So when I first started thinking about a school, so when I first started thinking about a school, I had this limiting thought. And the thought was, this is way too much stress for me to handle. Like, I can't do it. And so I had this thought going, it's too much stress, it's too much stress. And so you can imagine when I was allowing myself to deep think about it's too much stress. Just when you think about something's too much stress, you notice that your body automatically, whether it's subtle or whether it's like, fetal position kind of stuff, it's like I was getting contracted. So when I thought, oh, it's too stressful, I can't do it, then my shoulders would hunch and my breathing would get more shallow, and I would be kind of in this not very empowered place.
Yeah.
And then when I was in this not very empowered place, my self-confidence about this school would be in the tank. It's like, oh, it's too stressful, I can't handle it. And I would be like all curled up and my body would be
Contracting.
it was totally contracted. So so one of the things I teach is having clients, one, be aware, and be aware that they're having this thought. The next step is, and so when you're having that thought, what happens in your body? What is it your self-talk saying? How does that influence your self-esteem? How does that influence what you do in a day, the decisions you make about putting your promo out? So that's the first half of the process, where you just allow the client to really experience. And when I allowed myself to really experience it, I went, wow, I'm having a really big impact on myself. My thoughts are making me do this. So the next part is, so if I don't want to have that thought and I don't want to feel like I'm in the tank, what would I be thinking or feeling that would be different? So having that thought is kind of like, oh, I'd rather be open. I'd rather have a full breath. I'd rather bring all of myself to this school. I'd rather open up and be available. And it happens in the body by changing a thought. So by changing a limiting belief and changing the thought to, oh, I actually can think about doing this school and I don't have to get all stressed out. I'm in charge. I don't have to put myself in a position where I take on too much and become really stressful. And so then I come away from the experience of, I can handle this. I can do it. And so my body is straightened up, my breath is better, my posture's straighter, and I'm now ready to look at what my next step is.
Marlena, can you say more about that turning point? Like, what is it you're doing? You mentioned breath, but are you engaging the body in other ways? So I'd love for people to really get that felt sense of what is causing that change through the body, if you could.
Oh, okay. So when we get to the turnaround piece, I always have my clients stand up. Okay. So they've been in their pity chair. They've been in the I can't do it chair. They've
Did you call it a pity chair?
Yeah.
Pity chair?
Yeah. Pity party. They're having a pity party. Like, oh, I can't do it. It's never going to work. You know, all those things. Pity party. So rather than stay in the pity chair, I've studied my body. I know what I'm doing to myself. I know what I'm saying to myself. And so so I'm glad you brought this in, Andrea, because it's a really important part of the process is, okay, client, so if you don't want to stay in this pity chair, let's stand up. Like, I invite you to stand up and just, take a breath, breathe a bit deeper, straighten your posture up, and let's see what's possible here.
And those so often, Marlene, we could invite everyone to try it if they want, because I don't know about you, but I mean, almost every day something like this can come upon us. So feel free to walk with Marlene as she guides us through this. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not going to stand up because you'll lose my face, but
no, we don't want to look at your belly button.
But those of you at home, so just in this very snippet,
yes,
allow yourself just to imagine being in the pity chair. Just for a moment. Think about those limiting thoughts and it's not going to work and blah, blah, blah. The stuff. You know them. You've got your own flavor. And just really feel how your body's responding to this thought that you're thinking. So as you kind of get contracted and you start going in the tank, just feel it. Notice what happens to your breath.
I get weight on my neck and my shoulders. My breath gets shallow. My belly sort of feels like it swells.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's on coaching calls for sure. Yeah, especially when I'm going for something big.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the invitation is to shift a perspective, and we shift a perspective through the body by standing up, by going and looking out a window, by opening up our chest, by breathing more fully. And by doing that, we allow in a perspective shift that's really, really powerful. Because when we allow it in, and we can imagine, like with me, I can imagine my school and, managing my stress and everything's being okay. I can look out a window or I can walk around and I can even strut a little bit and go, yeah, I got it going on.
Strut.
Yeah, I can do this. Oh, yeah. I spend a lot of time strutting with because I never ask my client to do anything I'm not willing to do. So if I have them strutting, I'm strutting and I'm moving my hips, or I've got my arms open and, feeling the joy or, whatever. And so an important part with body-centered coaching is really being in tune with what's happening with the client, because that's where the powerful questions come from. That's where the human-to-human experience happens, is because I'm right there, I'm right with you, it's right there, I feel it. And because I feel you, then I can be with you and I can ask questions in a different kind of a way. And they're body-centered because that's where the information is. And the other thing I want to say about the body is when you use the body, the shift is so much faster than let's talk about the idea of not thinking the thought. I mean, it doesn't translate to action or forward movement, really.
It's very different. I'll say that. It's very different. So to be really clear to everyone who is thinking about how you could apply it as a coach, let's say you're in the middle of a coaching conversation, and let's say you're stuck. Let's be very candid here today. We're gathered here today to be candid at this advanced place in addressing quality of coaching issues. Let's say you're stuck as a coach. How many of you would be willing to confess that? I certainly would. I'm pushing my edge all the time when it comes to coaching. And what I've learned as a student of Marlena's content as an advanced coach trainer is to simply pause, and in those most stuck places, it's almost a cheat, but it's a great advanced cheat, right? Now that you've been trained on this Google Hangout, you can use it just to say, okay, you might have no other question, you might have no other coaching technique available to you. In that moment, breathe yourself and check in with your body as a coach and ask simply, surprisingly perhaps for your client, can you tell me what is happening in your body? Breath. How are you sitting? Describe for me how your body feels. And it doesn't matter whether you've prepared them for that. I've learned that from you, Marlene. You can ask it out of the blue. And that's actually oftentimes when the most advanced ahas come, is when you're surprised into remembering that the body is speaking when everything else can be confused and overwhelmed. It's like the always there resource. And that surprise element, actually, I've taken to using it quite a bit, where it's just like, we might be in the middle of something else and talking about income or revenue or launches or, how are you lead generating? And it's, okay, how is your body feeling? What is your body telling you? And that's where you become an advanced coach in that moment, because you're integrating the whole person. Am I right? Am I a good student? Do I get a gold star?
You do, absolutely. Yeah, you absolutely do, Andrea. And you're just so elegant with the way you describe it, because you've had your own personal experience with it. So you're able to speak from your heart, and this stuff really works. It really does. Yeah.
Now, just because we want to get this out of the way and I don't want you to forget, could you give us the URL for the Coach Training School now that you've seized this and part of your job is to make sure as many people learn about this as possible? Where can people hear more just to stay in touch with the launch that's happening?
Okay. It's advancedcoachtrainingschool.com. And when you get to advancedcoachtrainingschool.com, there's a place there where you can put your name and your email address, so that as we add curriculum, as we add an application form, as we add different information, you'll be the very first to know. Mm-hmm. So when you put your name there, you'll also get an ebook that I wrote about the fundamentals of body-centered coaching and how important it is to bring the body in, and it talks about all sorts of different things. I think it's like 18 or 20 pages long or something. So when you sign up at advancedcoachtrainingschool.com, you will find it there. Yeah.
And I mean, it's a really cool little handbook. Like, I think of it as a primer. If this is a new concept to you, and if you're like me, you kind of feel like, well, crap, I've been coaching without the body for how long? And I thought I was okay at what I was doing. And it's like, wait a second, I haven't actually been coaching the whole person. I better get on it. I'd head over to advancedcoachtrainingschool.com and get that, because the 18 pages is really just enough. It's not too much, and it's a primer. It just gets you as a coach really quickly, because you're a seasoned coach. It's not going to take you, a lot to really create this opening into exploration, and you can start exploring right away. So what's another story? There's something else that you wanted to do around, I don't know what you wanted to do first.
Okay, so I want to talk about a process that I use, and it's body-centered in that it uses your two hands.
Okay.
And so all we do in the process is we have our hands apart, we put them together, we notice what's happening, and we take our hands apart.
Okay.
So this process is really about being mindful, because that's one of the foundational pieces to body-centered coaching. Another piece is taking your time to slow down and pay attention. The body needs more time. So you'll notice as you start doing this with your clients that you become slowed down and you take more time, because you're allowing the spaciousness for the client. So if you have a client that says, I really want to be successful, but I don't want to be pushy like a lot of the successful people are. Right?
Did you choose this one on purpose? Because I think this is one of the most common ones for business coaches.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we all do it. We all do it. Yeah. And so we're saying to the universe, yeah, I want to be successful, and but I don't want to be pushy. So then nothing happens, and the universe is not available to support you, or nobody's available to support you, because you've got this process going that, like what is it? Do you want to be successful? And anyway. So
It's indecisive.
here's the process.
It's indecisive, and it has this feeling of overwhelm. I think we can all relate, and our clients certainly come to us to get out of this situation, this feeling of one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake at the same time. So how do you put your hands together and take them apart again? Mm-hmm.
So everybody on the call can do this with me. So we'll just do it a generic one because most of us relate to it on some level.
Yeah.
So in one hand, and it doesn't matter which one, I want you to put the idea of being successful. And in that hand, I want you to look at that hand and go, yeah, that is what I want. That is what I'm headed. When I'm successful, this is what I'll do. This is how I'll feel. This is how my life will be different. And so you really get kind of a juicy, yummy feeling about success. And so you're holding it in this hand very lovingly.
Okay.
And then this thought comes in. I know so many people that are successful and they're pushy. So in the other hand, you put pushy, arrogant, sends too many emails, always in someone's face. You know, all those things that we freak out about, right? It's like, oh, no, I'm going to have to do this and that.
Yes.
I'm going to drive my whole audience crazy.
Getting a fetal position.
Yeah. Totally. So here we want success, and you don't want to be pushy. So this process goes like this. I invite the clients to put their hands together, and I say to them, I want you to believe, imagine that this is always, always true. Whenever you're going to be successful, you have to be pushy. So success has to equal pushy.
Really?
And so this is what we're trying on. And this is the negative self-talk thing. It's kind of like a belief, actually. Okay. So we're trying it on, and what I'm wanting is for the client to experience what it's like in their body when they imagine or decide that to be successful they have to be pushy. And I keep them there. It's like, okay, they're talking like this anyway, and part of them is believing it. So I want them in their body to have the sensation of, to be successful, I have to be pushy. And I have the clients study it. So what happens, and so many times, is like their shoulders get tight, their hands are like gripping apart, they can't breathe properly, they're just uncomfortable. And everybody does it a bit differently, but it always happens that when they really entertain the idea that those two things go together, which is what they're telling themselves and the universe, the body goes, oh my gosh, this is awful. I just better not do this success thing because like this is horrible and I'm going to have to do all these awful things.
Ooh,
anyway, so
I feel sick.
And I keep the client there long enough for them to really feel what they're doing to themselves. So okay, so they do this. It's working. And the clients will often say, I don't want to do this anymore. This feels awful.
I have been holding back from saying that to you. Will you please let me out? Let me out.
Yeah,
I want to go like this.
Yeah. So then I say, okay, let's separate your hands. And let's look at one hand that's successful, and the other hand represents pushy, and they don't go together. Like the hands are not together. You can be successful without being pushy. So what would it be like to begin to live from that place in your business where you let go of the idea? So it's really about, oh, shake off that pushy thing.
Thank God.
Like, whoa. and I say, okay, like success is success. Pushy's pushy. They don't go together. And so they have the full experience of unhooking, unfusing those two ideas so that they can remind themselves in their body how much fuller their breath is to go, oh, success is just success. That's great. And I can like shake off this other thing I've made up. And clients just, and it only takes one session, but because clients get it inside their body, it's sustainable, it lasts. They can go to their body as a resource and remind themselves when that little na comes in. They can go, oh, no, 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 that was the old thing. This is the new thing. I can be successful.
That is profound. I hope you guys who are listening, hanging out, are doing it as we go along, because I don't know about you, but I mean, I will take any chance I get to walk through a process with Marlena and Annette. It's if I compare what you just did as a tool, which I genuinely, deeply hope everyone who's here and listening will use right away. It's one of dozens and dozens of different tools and techniques that you teach in the curriculum at the Advanced Coach Training School. Think about if you were to be a non-body-centered coach, a non-aware coach, and do it the thinky way, and all you would be doing is trying to say something that would finally get the person, the client, to say, okay, it's not attached, I can have success without feeling arrogant and pushy in emails. It just is not the same. It's like going from,
Yeah, because when we have a thought, like to be successful, I don't have to be pushy, that's just a thought. And if that's all we had to do was think the thought, it doesn't work, because the client doesn't own it in their body, they don't own it in their heart. So when they really feel it and embody it, so that's a word I love, like embodying it, it's like, oh yes, it's in me, I get it, my whole person, body, mind, and spirit gets it, that I can be successful without being pushy. It's a whole body, whole person experience, as opposed to just a thought process. That thought processes come and go. You can't hold on to them.
And there are lots of these junctures. So we just had Marlena. Wasn't that a treat, you guys? It's just a tiny taste of the kind of thing that we're talking about here as we open up this universe of advancedness around the quality of our coaching. What would happen if all coaches in the world understood how to use these advanced coach training techniques? What would happen if just you and I, you guys here today and listening to this recording, would just use this, like, and we're not saying use it every single moment of every single coaching session, but there are these they're like the peaks of the waves. If you think of the ocean and there are those waves, there are these moments that we come across as coaches. There are crossroads, stuck places, obstacles, emotional highs and lows. They're like pivot points. And those points often when we're most stuck as the coach, to try and help the person in the most efficient way, that these things that Marlena is bringing forward in her curriculum will help the most. I mean, I don't know about you, but I like to think that almost any circumstance as a business mentor I can handle in some way. And if I don't know how, I certainly have the resources to figure out what to do. But it's like the difference sometimes between doing it in an adequate way and doing it elegantly. So it's like if somebody gets injured and they have something happening in their business or in their life, and they've injured themselves. Would you rather go to a doctor who could do an adequate job of healing that injury, or would you rather go to a doctor who could, in an elegant 2 stitches, perfectly, seamlessly, and with the least amount of pain and disruption, get you to that healed place? That's what we're talking about when we're talking about advanced skills like this. And I hope you really take that to heart. It's like I said at the beginning of this this call, it's rare, I think, that we talk about these things as coaches. We talk so often about so many other things, that the quality and the nature of what you're actually doing as a coach in these calls, hey, Natalie, I can't thank you enough for this work. What else did you have? Did you have another goodie for us?
Yes, I do. And this one's really around if a client comes to a call and they're really in fear and they're overwhelmed and they're just off the charts, like they're not available for decision, they're not actually available for any kind of a conversation about their next step, and it's because the fear, whatever it is that they're bringing, and the overwhelm is so big that they can't think. And so what I'm going to talk about now is something that you can do with your clients so that they can settle down enough to be with their fear, settle it down, then you can do the coaching because you've settled it down. But if they're like in, shaky, vibrating, they're so scared they can't talk, what do you do? It's really hard to say, yeah, settle down. We're gonna, talk about your goals today. I mean, it doesn't work. They're like freaked out about their goals. They're like in fear and anxiety, and they just like, whoa. So this process that I teach has to do with allowing the client, inviting the client to really name the fears. Okay, so like the fear of me like doing this school. Okay, so if I get out a basket and I'm putting all my fears into this basket, it's like, oh, I won't have enough time for my family. Oh, I'll be stressed out. Oh, there'll be too many people to manage and I won't know what to do because I don't know how. I'll be getting way too many emails. I'll be blah, and just all of these overwhelming thoughts. So it's about giving a client space to normalize all this stuff that goes on in our head. It's normal, right? When we're in fear, these are like the normal things we're saying to ourselves, and they're not helpful. So putting all these fears and anxieties and being heard, it's so important for a client to be heard, as opposed to a coach that says, oh, stop being afraid, we're going to do goals today, or stop thinking those thoughts. That doesn't work. So it's putting the fears and anxiety and being heard about what they are, and beginning to look at this container full of fears and begin to be compassionate, which is the opposite of what we most want to do. We just want them to, get rid of them, get that basket out of here, go away. I don't want to think of scary thoughts. The antidote to fear is compassion. So it's like, so I've named all these fears, they're in this basket, and if I look at the basket and I'm compassionate towards the fears that I've put in the basket, it's kind of like the basket can be like a little kid that's afraid. It can be like a little puppy dog, a little kitten that's quivering because they're really scared. We don't go and kick them. We pick them up and we soothe them. So we're compassionate with the puppy dog, with the child, with the kitten. We're compassionate for any being, actually, that's really stuck in fear. So how can you be compassionate with yourself, with the part of you, and it's not the whole of you, which is the cool part, but how can you be compassionate with this part of you that's so fearful, and how can you be compassionate with that part? How can you be supportive of the part? How can you be self-loving? How can you be reassuring to that part that's freaked out? And as you go through the process of really being gentle and compassionate and acknowledging and supporting, you don't let it drive the bus. It needs acknowledgement, and then it settles down, and then we can go, okay, I can be compassionate with that part, and I'm choosing not to let it overwhelm me anymore.
So good. Yeah, the thing that I have reflected upon over the time of getting to know your teaching is that advanced coach training actually it makes my job not only easier because I have more skillful tools, but because the tools are actually giving me support. So you might think that the skills and the tools are excellent because the coach can then support the client better. But the tools are actually supporting me as the coach in a sort of a three-dimensional way that it enables me to feel like I can rest in the process differently rather than having to be driving the process and being in charge. There is much more palpable a sense of a container that then I can relax and work less hard, and my presence is the thing that I get to focus on. A lot of us, I think, coach from our bodies without really knowing it. It's something we haven't articulated. It's like an instinct or a gut sort of thing, a sense. Yeah. But now that I'm aware and able to articulate this, now it's not just that I get to activate the client's body, I get to activate and own my own body. So instead of just having two brains being coach and client, it's two brains and two bodies. And the container that emerges with this extra dose of compassion that the tools give us, it becomes an entirely different thing. Really is, I think it's so good that you're teaching this way today, Marlena, because I think just it's really something to have an experience of. Remember back in the day, I don't know, 20 years ago, when people would say, well, you're a coach, what does that mean? Are you a soccer coach? You know, there just wasn't a concept of what that was. This has that same kind of flavor. Lots of people understand what a coach is now. Now, when you say I'm a coach, people will say, "Do you mean a life coach or a professional, a business coach, or do you mean a sport coach?" It's possibly even more likely they think you're not a sport coach. Now it's the sport coaches that are complaining that they're getting mistaken for life coaches. But I think that there's a turning point. I'll point to it as a trend, actually, that this is the next wave. It's the next generation, and it's really the thing that those of us who are diehard coaches, committed to coaching for the long haul, like for the rest of my life I will be a coach. You cannot operate and do surgery to get rid of the coach in me. That there are going to be people who don't use the body and don't coach the whole self and don't coach with an entire body and a heart and a brain, and people who do. And soon it will be people who do who are the ones that are prized as doing real coaching on the cutting edge. That as a client, when you have a choice between a coach who doesn't understand how to coach using the body and a coach who does understand it, there will be hands down, no question. Why would you go with a coach who doesn't understand how to use the body when you have a choice? This is what's coming for us. And this is just a tip of the iceberg here in this Google Hangout to start talking about it a little bit. Do you have, I think you have a module or two that you're opening for the school as part of the launch that's kind of a first step in the curriculum and a little bit of a special invitation because you're throwing a party for the school. This is like the confetti, and for people who want to give a course a try, what can we look forward to?
So in June, I'm doing a 3-part teletraining, and I'm going to be teaching in their fullness and demonstrating and doing Q&A on the call of the 3 things that we talked about today. So if you'd like to have a taster for more in-depth about limiting beliefs and getting the ebook that gives you the steps and gives you some audios that I use, and you can hear me doing it on the call, you can hear me do it in the audios. So I'm going to do this 3-week one, and the module is called Beyond Limits. And we'll be doing Disempowering Beliefs 1 week, we'll be doing Fusions the next week, which is the hand thing, and then we'll be doing Moving Beyond Fear and Anxiety the 3rd week. And so there's a URL that I can read to you if you want to go and read about it. The page is there, and the description's there, and it's called advancedcoachtrainingschool.com/ capital letters BLTT, and the letters stand for Beyond Limits Teletraining. So advancedcoachtrainingschool.com / BLTT in capitals. And what you'll do is you'll have some personal experiences, because I never do anything on the teletrainings where people don't have a personal experience of being mindful, of being spacious, of being aware of body sensation. We talk about the importance of mindfulness and how important that is. Mindfulness is so foundational to Advanced Coach Training School and body-centered coaching, and neuroscience is, proving it, which is quite lovely because some of us have known it for, it's been around for many, many eons. And if you want to have a look at that website, advancedcoachtrainingschool.com BLTT, then go there and have a look around, and it'll give you an introduction, and some of you will be able to go away from that and begin practicing and using it with your clients. Other ones will go away from that and go, oh, I need to go in depth. I need to go to the school and learn this properly. I need to go to the school and spend 4 days with Marlena in a small group. I need to do the supervision. I need to like get it in my bones. And so come and have a taster, and then you'll know whether you want to go into depth and whether you want to be more of an expert of using the body and more comfortable and more confident doing so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, BLTT, that sounds like a bacon, lettuce, and tomato with extra tomato. I like the extra tomato part a lot, actually. Yeah. Now, do you get CEUs, continuing education credits, for this, or how is that part working, Marlena?
Yes, there are 4.5 continuing education credits for those of you who are collecting them. And if for some reason the day and the time I picked does not work for you, you can still register and then be in communication with me that you've listened to the call in its entirety, and then I can mark you off and you can still be eligible. So if the timing is really bad for you, it's not a problem. We can work around it. And I think that the early bird is June the 1st. And also, for those people listening to this, I've created a coupon. So if you go there and you want to do it, if you put in AJL for Andrea J. Lee, so just AJL, and you put it in the coupon box and push apply, you'll have $35 taken off of your tuition fee. Just because you showed up here.
Because Andrea is worth $35 to you today, guys.
Awesome. It's true. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I really like this course, and the main thing is, I was chatting with Marlena about it. It's one of those things where you could feel like, wow, do I need, am I going to need to go all the way back to the beginning and get a new certification? Or, certainly those are things that are options. Marlena has a really great curriculum. It's really bar none, and this kind of thing doesn't exist just everywhere. As you can see, she's earned her chops through a beautiful silver hair or two. But this is very focused and very specific, just like what we've tried to give you a demonstration of here today. It's a very specific way to enhance your toolkit with things that you will immediately be able to use and start to become the kind of coach who doesn't leave this part of the human being behind, the entire body, the entire human being. So if you think that you're still going to be coaching human beings in the future, think about coaching the whole human being, right? And so let's repeat some of the details. The early bird deadline is June 1st. Mm-hmm. And you'll be able to apply the $35 coupon against the tuition price that's listed there on the page. It's a savings of $35. Mm-hmm. It's already a fantastic deal. You can pay 3 easy installments of $90 only to get started. Is that coupon going to go against that first $90, Marlena?
Yes. So if they want to do the installment plan, then $35 gets taken off immediately, and then the other 2 are programmed automatically a month apart.
So for $65, you get to start in this cool little module that Marlena has created. And I can't, honestly, is this really true that this is that's how much it is? I mean, it just, it's one of those things.
My business coach thinks it's not enough. And, it's just the more people that learn about this and the more people that start getting intrigued by it, the better. And it's just so important to me. It's a steal of a lifetime. And the other thing is, you go away with an ebook that has the 3 things written about. There's steps in there. There's stories of coaching clients that I've had. And you get to listen to me do it on audios. So before the course even starts, you can be up on having read it and listened and all sorts of things, so that when you come to the call, you're just ahead of the game, and just when you hear everything and experience it a second time, third time, it goes in a little bit deeper each time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am so grateful. Marlena, did you want to do a bit of review or final bit of teaching here? I know it's sort of a few minutes at the end, and let people think about this invitation that this irresistible invitation that you've made to join you in this launch of your big school and help to celebrate your journey from solopreneur to a school do we have to call you a principal? If we're in trouble, if we get in trouble, do we go to the school principal and you have to discipline us?
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So what I want to leave everybody with is in the body-centered coaching model that I've developed. I teach processes. I teach how to use the body. I teach those things that are so vitally important because our body stores our story. But not only that, I make a special effort to have people begin to be more mindful and pay more self-awareness to themselves, not just for their clients' sake, but as you go through your life, as you begin to practice being more mindful and being more spacious, not just with your clients, but with yourself, you'll experience a greater sense of peace and well-being and happiness by incorporating mindfulness in the body, not just with your clients, but with yourself. And that's what neuroscience is talking about. It's really talking about the idea that we can enhance our well-being, enhance our happiness, enhance our relationships, and that they're all by bringing self-awareness, present moment experience, mindfulness, into your body. And yeah, it's a win. It's a win-win all the way around. Yeah.
Yeah, I can feel that really, like, neuroscience is a really big word. It's not a very embodied word, unfortunately. But if we really think about the hands exercise, everybody who is listening can use that now in an innumerable, just really a limitless number of places and situations. And it's just one of, like I say, dozens and dozens of tools. Once we start to do that, I believe, Marlena, really, that this is a runaway success thing, because it's kind of like when, if you have a child and they have a very dirty face and you clean one spot, you're like, oh, the rest of the face looks really dirty.
Yeah.
It looks worse. Once you start to use this idea of the fusion and this, you're going to realize all the other places when you're trying to talk your way into making change with a client, you try to think your way through to leaping, maybe like Marlena has leaped into a bigger legacy and vision in your coaching business. You start to realize it's like, surely there must be something that is body-centric, that is a tool or a distinction or an experience that would be able to get me there more quickly.
Yes, and so many coaches they get worried, or they go, I don't know what I'm doing, or they have a hesitation, I've found sometimes, about, oh, I don't know what to do. Well, come and learn what to do, really. Like, here I am. Come and learn what to do so that you can be comfortable with asking about the body, because it's like Andrea said, it's the whole being, body, mind, and spirit. So the more you do it and the more you practice it, the more comfortable you will be, and you'll be more confident and relaxed as a coach. I promise. You will.
You promise?
I promise.
If you could see the future of coaching, if you look into the future, Marlena, you're such a wise, steady, and deep and safe teacher. You've gone through so much in your life, really, I think, to earn you the stripes and that beautiful silver head of hair of yours to be the founder of a school like this that breaks extraordinary ground. What is your hope for the coaching profession in the future of what we do with our clients?
Well, when I think about the future and the possibilities for the Advanced Coach Training School is starting with my body of work, which is body-centered coaching, and then doing some courses, bringing in some other experts, some other teachers, maybe doing something on embodied leadership. And it's exponential because it's going to shift everything. So if we shift our focus, so business coaches can use more embodiment stuff, leaders can include more embodiment, relationships definitely more embodiment, then my dream for the future is that we'll be a more evolved society, that will be more connected with each other. So the possibilities are endless, which is why at the beginning I said I don't know where this legacy is going to go because I can't make it up, but I will be available to everything that comes in that can be embodied.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that vision. And I mean, to me, in just this last couple of minutes, as we get ready to close up our hangouts and our hangout here, to me, it really is, it fundamentally has to do with peace. And creating a peaceful society and becoming a more peaceful species. When we don't include the body, there is a very real notion, and it's my belief, that we are doing violence to ourselves by trying to split ourselves up, trying to be a human who doesn't have a body and operate only in our heads. This fractured, sort of violent nature to non-body integrated, non-body, mind, spirit integrated coaching will come to rest. We'll be able to find a peaceful place of everything being integrated. And when we do that as coaches, we are in the right to do that with our clients. And when our clients experience that, then they're going to take it out into their leadership roles as parents, as husbands and wives, as CEOs, as small business owners. So it's nothing short of an incredible opportunity ahead to use this vision of body-centered coaching to create a much more peaceful existence. And
absolutely.
Yeah, what could be better than that?
Yeah, yummy.
Thanks so much, Marlena, for being here with us today and imparting your wisdom on us. I don't know if we have comments or questions that we wanted to do, but I think that we will have a way to communicate. If you wanted to give us feedback, you could go on ahead and do that in multiple ways. I know, Marlena, I think you're on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
And there's ways in which we could do that here. Love, 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 love what you're doing, and I could not recommend you more highly with no reservations of any kind from the depth of my heart. This is Andrea Lee, wealthythoughtleader.com. Marlena.
Thank you, Andrea. Yeah, Marlena, advancedcoachtrainingschool.com. Go there and get that body-centered ebook and find out about stuff.
Bye-bye for now, everyone. Thanks for being with us on our first Google Hangout.
Yeah, woohoo!